So I tell you what happened at D&D today?
Yeah, okay.
So I was going to try to take them on, like a standard module adventure, but they wouldn't settle down. So so they were playing with this dragon. They kept calling him Holy Scoliosis again because we had that last week. So, and they were recounting their adventures, so that was cool. So I was like, okay. So Declan was like, okay, can we all introduce our characters? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So we went around, we did that. And they're like, okay, where are we? I said, I don't know, where are you? And they're like, okay, we're at a restaurant. We're all around a table. I said, okay, great. And I said, in walks this red dragon that looks very much like Holy Scoliosis. And he says, where is my brother? And so they immediately attack him. Like, they don't even want to talk to him. They just, like, immediately all start, like, attacking him. So I'm like, and they're like, what's the dragon's name? I'm like, I don't know. What is the dragon's name? And they're like, Bob. And I'm like, Bob Scoliosis? And they're like, yeah. But then one of the kids' character, Luke, his character's name is Bob. So they're like, well, that's too confusing. So then they start calling him Gary. So it's Gary Scoliosis, and they're attacking Gary, and they're doing really bad stuff to him. They're taking apart his nether regions and things. And then, they're just talking in little boy terms. And then, but then Heron is playing with the bag of like figures, and she finds another dinosaur. So she's like, so after they really mutilate Bob/Gary, she's like, well, this dinosaur comes in, it's his cousin, and they're like, and it's gonna help him like get out the door. So I said, well, what's his name? And she's like, Gary. And I'm like, wait, they're both Gary? I said, well, they are cousins. Maybe it's like a family name, like it runs in the family. So then they found a third one, and then this is Steve. So this is Steve Scoliosis.
Gary and
Bob,
Scoliosis.
Gary, and Steve Scoliosis dragons. And of course, they cut the rubies off everyone. We made code words. I said, look, guys, if teachers come in this room, you can't be saying those words. We have to have code words. And they're like, well, what are the code words? And I said, I don't know. And then Declan's like, well, last week it was rubies. And I said, yeah, rubies. We'll call them rubies. And then the one kid, the one who had the temper tantrum. Max, he was like, all right, I'm going to turn around, and he's like, I ate Taco Bell today and I don't feel good. So I'm going to turn around and have explosive blank and at the dragons. So he rolls a 20. So I'm like, oh my God. So he does that, and then the floor is all messy. I'm like, that's like, what do they call it? Terrain, like difficult terrain. So I'm like, well, we gotta have code word for that. So like, well, that's Taco Bell. And I said, okay, well, that's fine. So if you hear them talking about rubies and Taco Bell, you know what they're talking about.
Meanwhile, what were the older kids doing?
They were all having fun, but like they kept hearing the word dragon, so they're like, "Are all you guys dragonborns?" And they're like, "No, we cut the blank off the dragon." And the one's like, "I cut 3 of them," and oh my God, I'm like, you guys gonna get me fired. And then so anyway, that's what 11-year-old boys talk about with D&D. So
they're nuts. They're like clearly nuts.
So I told him, I said, the bartender is not like, and he's like, what's going on over there? And he sees the mess on the floor, and he's like, Harry Potter, get in here and mop this up. So Harry Potter is now the janitor at the bar.
So what, did Harry get more involved in it?
Not yet. No, we kind of like broke. It was like already 3:42, so we were like, I'm like, that's a pretty good place to stop. So they're gonna level up their characters, and who knows? We'll see if we can get Harry into the story.
Heron. Yeah, I just wondered.
No, Harry Potter. Oh, Heron. Yeah, she was into it. Yeah, well, she's like, I've run this before. They. Yeah. And I said, they've said, I ran this before and blah, blah, blah. I said, well, you could do it today if you want. I said, I'll watch. So maybe at some point they will step up.
Yeah, they'll get there.
Yeah. So,
all of them.
Yeah, all of them. Well, there's only 5 today.
Yeah, Patrick will join in too.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get into it. Yeah. and they were laughing over at the big group table.
Oh my gosh, those guys were having so much fun.
I just they look like they were gonna have fun. I like giving them treats at the beginning.
They started a group text.
I'll make sure that I just give everybody the exact same treat.
They started a group text, and as we're walking out, I overheard Agnostic say, "All right, everybody level up your character for next time." And in the group text, make sure that you put the information in the group text. They're so organized.
He's so funny.
Yeah, and Jacob. Him and Jacob.
Yeah, Agnostic said to me, he said, "Did my mom email you something?" I said, "No, let me check."